can say what's on my mind.
What's up? This is the Sports Renegades broadcasting live from 6 to 8 p.m. here on SportsTownChicago.com tonight. This is Ryan Risky. Unfortunately, both Tommy Castanovo and Chris Hornig are both out tonight, so joining me as the other Renegade for this show is Ryan Stuprich, fellow co-host from the Fantasy Fanatics show. What's going on, Ryan?
What's going on, Ryan?
The Bears. Not much to say about them.
No.
You and me were both at the game.
Yes, we were, and it was a shame.
It was a shame. That was brutal to be at. Before we get more into the Bears conversation, you can follow me on Twitter at rrisky16. You can follow the Sports Renegades at the Sports Renegades on Twitter, and give them a like on Facebook.
Yep, for sure. And you can follow me on Twitter at Ryan Stuprich.
Stuprich.
Yep, that's right. I always have to spell it out because it gets a little confusing.
You say it a lot faster than me, although you say it all the time now.
Yeah, I'm pretty used to it.
Anyways, the Bears, it wasn't a very convincing performance put up by them. Not at all. 0 points at halftime, and then Kyle Long having the nerve to say that it was unacceptable that fans were booing at halftime.
Yeah, that really irked me, and it probably irked us both because we were both at the game. I mean, we paid good money for the tickets. You got to pay for the parking and the
it's not like Bears tickets are cheap
and everything. So I think as a Bears fan, you have every right to boo when you don't score any points in the first half against the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, 0 points, and they didn't even have a first down in the first half.
Nothing.
I think they only had 50 total yards. They kept going 3 and out. That was ridiculous. It was embarrassing to watch, and then they just kept going. They wouldn't do anything. They ran the ball twice in the first half.
Right. And the thing that it was pretty exciting to start off with because the game started off
with a sack.
Jeremiah Ratliff's sack of Ryan Tannehill, which is pretty exciting, and then that was a quick 3 and out for the Dolphins.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a good game, right? When Ratliff getting a big sack on the first play of the game, 3 and out, I thought it was going to be a good game.
And the defense doing good that first drive. The Bears should have been able to score on that first drive just because their defense finally did something for them. And, you want to reward your defense for doing something by driving, and I think it should have been 7-0 Bears within the first few minutes, but it wasn't.
Right, and the one thing that annoyed me though was, Alshon Jeffrey 2 catches for 9 yards in the game. That was
and
funny.
They weren't even targeting him though.
No, they weren't. He did draw a good pass interference penalty late in the game, which they needed.
True.
One thing though, he caught the first. His only 2 catches were the first 2 plays from scrimmage in the game, and what irked me the most about it was that on that second catch, he didn't even get tackled. He dove and fell down.
Right.
And then it was 3rd and 1. I'm like, you could have gotten the first down. And where I was sitting in the 100 level, there was a big TV right above us that was showing he could have easily had the first down.
Yeah.
And then on the 3rd and 1, they call an audible and they launch a deep one for Jeffrey, and then he didn't catch it, so then they had to punt.
And it was in his hands too, right?
It was. It was.
It was in and out. And you would have been like at the 2-yard line, and you definitely would have scored there.
Yeah, and the thing about that is, on 3rd and 1, where was Forte to catch one of those short passes? Or why didn't you run the ball?
Right. And, Brandon Marshall did not have a good game either, and it was against his former team. I was expecting him to have a big game. I thought he was going to have 100-plus receiving yards, a few touchdowns, but nothing.
Cortland Finnegan did a pretty good job on him. I know Marshall was talking with the ref a lot because it looked like Finnegan was holding him a lot, and the refs weren't giving the calls. There were not many foul calls in that game. I was actually shocked when Tannehill got called for intentional grounding.
Oh, yes, I remember that play.
Because I thought it was a loss of a down, and then the Bears blocked the coinciding field goal. And then they drove down the field and got a touchdown.
That's the thing. They had a block and a field goal, and then Miami was so kind to miss a field goal, and the Bears should capitalize on their opportunities.
Yeah, that's right. Miami missed a field goal wide right. Yeah, it was just bad. And the thing is, they targeted Jeffrey like a decent. They didn't target him a lot. It was mostly another all Forte game. You throw the.
It was Forte and Martellus Bennett had a good game early, but they didn't get to him when they needed to win.
Well, on that final drive, they threw. He was targeted twice, and Marshall was targeted twice when they were on the 15.
Right.
Which, of course, there was 4 incomplete passes, except.
That's awful. I mean, does that fall more on Cutler or does that fall on the receivers? In your opinion?
I don't know, because there was a lot of drop passes. Like the one of the two that was at Bennett that was at the end should have been caught. Both of the ones to Marshall could have been caught. They were difficult plays, except you need to make it in the end zone. And then, of course, you had the Jay Cutler interception. We'll get into the fumbles at the next segment.
Oh, jeez.
That interception, a lot of people are going to blame Jay Cutler on that. I think that was on Santonio Holmes. Like, I think he was supposed to run a slant, and then he just kept running straight because Cutler threw the ball right when he was supposed to turn, and he kept going straight, and that's why there was no Bears receiver near the ball.
Jay Cutler was 21 for 34, 190 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception.
Yeah, not good. We'll get more into the more turnovers, the Brian Urlacher comments, more after that. Yeah, more into the next segment. You're listening to Sports Renegades with Ryan Risky and Ryan Stuprich on SportsTownChicago.com. Sports Renegades here on Thursday nights, SportsTownChicago.com. Ryan Risky and Ryan Stuprich here discussing the Bears game that we were both at. And we just talked about the Jay Cutler interception and how, to me, it looked like Santonio Holmes just ran the wrong route. Except right when he threw it, people that were behind me stood up and started screaming and swearing at Cutler, calling it, we need a new quarterback.
Well,
and
that's the thing.
Saying a lot of words that I can't say on the air.
No, of course not. But that's
all
the
the
thing.
drunk Bears fans.
Everybody seems to put the blame on Jay Cutler
That's what
when
kind of
things
annoys
bad
me.
happen. You
Right.
know, it's partly his fault, but it's not all his fault.
The defense allows a touchdown on every drive, and it's Jay Cutler's fault. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of funny how some Bears. I mean, he did not play well. I mean, I will not deny that he did not play very well.
No, he didn't.
At all.
And Ryan Tannehill played a lot.
Played
really well.
Speaking of Ryan Tannehill, what annoyed me was he completed his first 14 passes in the game.
Is that right? Oh, my gosh.
The
I
funny thing
didn't
is,
even realize that, yeah.
The first half, he was actually 14 of 15 passing. He completed his first 14 passes and then threw an incompletion before the halftime.
His overall numbers, he was 25 for 32, threw for 277 yards. That's something unheard of for Ryan Tannehill.
He was throwing a lot of short passes. He wasn't throwing deep ones. They were all short. One's right in front of the line of scrimmage or by the line of scrimmage or something like that. It wasn't like they were long passes. He wasn't throwing it like Peyton Manning.
No, he wasn't. And Charles Clay and Mike Wallace had 2 touchdowns each.
They
both had a touchdown. Not 2 touchdowns each.
The Mike Wallace touchdown, the corner of the end zone was in. That was right where my seats were because we were on the 15-yard line in the 100 level.
Okay.
So, and we were on the side of the end zone that was caught, and that was actually a nice catch in the corner of the end zone trying to get his feet down.
Right.
Except, also what was right in front of me was the Dante Rosario fumble.
Oh, that's a shame.
And that might have been one of the worst fumbles I had ever seen because he had
it was literally in his hands and popped right out.
No, he had the first down, and he was literally a half a step from going out of bounds. Mm-hmm. And
yeah, he was.
Then it looked like he was just trying to gain extra yards. You're not an actual receiving or tight end or a guy that's fast or running routes. You got the first down, just go out of bounds. He was trying to fight for an extra yard after he got the first down, and then he fumbled it. That really annoyed me. I was like,
yeah.
Seriously?
There was a lot of really annoying moments in the game where you're like, I could have gone out there and done something.
Yeah, really.
I could have done something. But on my bright spot was the punting for the Bears. Pat O'Donnell did a really nice job.
Yeah, considering he was doing a lot of punting.
You know, he doesn't do a very good job. Or there's been a lot of talk about him not doing very well.
The special teams was good. Chris Williams took 2 kickoffs past the 20-yard line.
I know that's unheard of for a Chicago Bear ever since Hester left.
I think that his first return that went past the 20 had to have been their first return past the 20-yard line this year.
I
that
agree.
Wasn't called back as a penalty because I know he had one earlier in the year that was called back as a holding penalty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And his second one, he almost took to the house. He brought it back to the 40.
Right, I remember that one. I was hoping I could see a return touchdown.
I thought he was gonna score.
I was hoping he would.
That would have given them a lot of momentum.
Right. Going back to the Bears receiving, you were right about Alshon Jeffrey. He only had 2 receptions for 9 yards.
Did it say how many targets he had?
It does not say how many targets he had.
Go to the ESPN box score. They say targets.
Okay.
I know he had at least like 6 or 7 targets. Yeah, the first 2 plays from scrimmage for the Bears in the first quarter was a 5-yard pass to Jeffrey and a 4-yard pass to Jeffrey. And that was the end of his day. He did draw that big pass interference call late in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, that was actually big because that brought him down to the 3-yard line, and then Forte scored.
Yeah, I remember that play, too. The problem was, that there was not enough time left in that game. And
no, too little, too late. I mean, when you put up 0 points at halftime, it becomes a problem. Because they put up no points at halftime, on their first drive, they got the ball at the start of halftime. On their first drive, they had to go for it on 4th down.
Yeah, I know.
they had to because they knew that at 4th and 1, they had to go for it because that offense wasn't doing anything. And then they ended up scoring 14-7. And then Miami has a 4th and 1. And then Ryan Tannehill had a 30-yard run. I couldn't believe that. He had a 30-yard run.
I know. I remember that. That was something that definitely shouldn't have happened, obviously.
No, that should not have happened at all. I couldn't believe it. Because
Alshon Jeffrey had 7 targets, by the way.
Boy. He caught his first 2.
And his long was a 5-yard gain, in case you're wondering.
I remember the first 2 plays from scrimmage was a 5-yard pass to him and then a 4-yard pass.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, I mean, there was... Yeah, I mean, Martellus Bennett had an okay game.
Yeah, he did. He had 5 receptions. He had 8 targets. So that's not
how many yards?
58 yards.
Okay, not bad. I think Marshall's like 5 receptions for 54 yards, 53?
48 yards.
See, he did have he had a 15-yard completion called back because of pass interference.
Yep.
Which, I mean... Cortland Finnegan was holding him almost the whole game, so the refs probably should have given it to him.
And then, of course, Jay Cutler had that fumble that was...
right, he got hit hard. That was on like a 3rd and 22. That was a 3rd and 20.
At that point, just throw the ball away. You don't need to try to make something out of nothing. That's the thing that makes me mad. Or you get rid of the ball quick. I mean, you do have the best receivers in the game, and somebody could get open.
I mean, I know they were probably trying to get that first down on 3rd and 22, except he waited so long. He got hit hard. Ball came out, Miami recovered, and then they had the ball on like the 20-yard line.
Right.
And then they scored. So
yeah, that was not good.
And another thing was on that interception that Cutler threw was the guy had like a 56-yard return. I thought that they were going to once he intercepted it, it looked like they were going to tackle him, and then he ran it back 56 yards.
Now who intercepted that ball? Did you remember who intercepted that?
No, it wasn't Finnegan. It was someone else.
I'm trying to see. I'll let you know once I figure it out.
It should be in that box score.
Yeah. Oh, it was R. Jones, who is Rashad Jones.
Okay, I knew it wasn't Finnegan because he was on Marshall the whole game.
Yeah.
How many receptions did Forte have?
Forte had 6 receptions for 60 yards.
Wow.
And 7 targets.
I'm sure he still leads the NFL in receptions.
I'm sure he does. Who's behind him in that as far as the running backs?
The running backs, well, he's probably so far ahead that they don't keep. They're not keeping count.
Jamal Charles might be behind him.
No, not Charles because he missed 2. He missed 1 3/4 games with an injury.
Mm-hmm.
Can't be Charles. McCoy hasn't done much in the passing game.
Right. Yeah, it was a very disappointing game.
How many rushing yards did he have?
Did Forte have?
Yeah.
Let's see. Forte had 49 rushing yards.
That almost seems like a normal game now for him because they're not running the ball, and 2, the offensive line hasn't been good for run blocking this year.
So 60 receiving yards and 49 rushing yards.
I mean, that's a great game, 100 yards from scrimmage.
Oh, yeah, he got me tons of fantasy points.
The 40 and 50-yard rushing games are now seeming like a normal because most of his yards are coming from receptions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, and another thing, when they run the ball, they don't, the run blocking just isn't there. And then Mark Trestman in the press conference, I love how he said, we had actually called for 6 runs in the first half, and Jay called an audible on 4 of them. I'm just thinking, you were calling 6 running plays?
Well, that's another thing.
In the first half? That should be the second half.
The play
when you
calling
yeah.
was awful.
The play calling,
That to me was the main reason why they lost. I understand you had the interception by Cutler and the receivers weren't getting open.
I don't think the defense forced a turnover. I mean, they blocked the field goal.